A darkened room filled with the low hum of machines, and in the center, a man sits, eyes closed and in deep concentration. The fate of the nation hinges on his ability to see what nobody else can. His mind reaches out across oceans and depths, seeking a lost Soviet submarine. Time is of the essence, and the nuclear threat is real. Welcome to the mysterious world of Project Stargate. This is Casual History. Welcome back, Jeffrey. How you doing, man?
Another week, another podcast.
That is right. We are getting back in the swing of things, and I'm super pumped by our last episode. That was actually going to be the first thing that I wanted to talk about today. Have you seen all the engagement and stuff that we've had?
Yeah, it's been really cool to see. I took a look at the poll results, from
me too.
The segment that we're now going to be doing every week at the end of a podcast. We're doing like some fun stories and history stories we're guessing on, and so seeing those polls were pretty cool to see. Also the comments, I think we got quite a few across different platforms, but it's cool to see that there were actually people wanting us to do this rather than this just being an us idea.
It was been so great. I've been like loving, there's even been just quite a few comments, and I've been trying to be like really active across all of our socials. So thank you all so much for reaching out wherever you guys did, liking the photos, seeing all of our content stuff that's everywhere. And actually, Jeffrey, speaking of the game, I'm very excited for this brand new game at the end of here. So it's going to be different than even trivia. So it's going to be really
different
cool.
Than trivia. Okay. Yeah. I have no clue what we're doing. So
it's going to be so fun.
See. Also, I heard, the intro to this episode is great.
Thanks.
Not just to kind of set up my info of what I know about this, absolutely nothing. I know the basic premise of the movie, that the movie was based on this actual story, which was with the men who stare at goats. And
I knew you had watched that movie before. Yeah,
I haven't seen it fully through. I've seen pieces, and so this connecting to that story is pretty funny to me. I have in my mind.
Yeah, I thought it was a good subject, and it just captured me right away, so I thought it'd be a really good one to just kind of bring us back.
Absolutely. Because now the main character is going to be George Clooney in my brain. Like,
right, exactly. You're just going to vision.
It's going to be
just going to visualize George Clooney in all these moments.
Yeah.
No, that's perfect. That's perfect. I haven't even seen the movie myself, so I've never seen it. I need to actually sit down and watch this after this podcast. So
I'm excited to hear what you found and what you bring up. I think as a wrap up to this intro section, maybe just noting again for those who are interested, we have social media, just Casual X History, and we are doing this podcast every week now. We're back to a set schedule, so I think we should go ahead and jump in.
So, in the shadows of the Cold War, a conflict marked by espionage, distrust, and nuclear dread, and an unexpected battle was brewing. A battle that reached out beyond borders and conventional weapons, a battle of the mind, Jeffrey. I know you're going to love this.
Yeah, I'm ready.
So, as the 1960s unfolded, the U.S. and the Soviet Union were locked in a precarious dance, each attempting to outmaneuver the other in a contest of ideologies, technologies, and military might. The Cuban Missile Crisis had just rattled the world, and the space race was just reaching new heights. The nuclear arms race was also in full swing, with both superpowers seeking the upper hand. But amidst the rocket launches and underground tests, a lesser-known race was underway, a race to unlock the potential of the human mind.
Psychedelics, baby.
Yeah. Let's get into it. I'm ready. Use all 100% of my brain. So
first off, just one note to start. The amount of tension that you just mentioned within the span of like 3 sentences, the nuclear arms race, the missile crisis, all of it.
It's crazy to think back that this is the setting for such a crazy story too in this certain project.
You look in every corner for an advantage, and so why not the human mind for some sort of superpower,
Really what happened was both sides kind of caught wind of something extraordinary, something that lay beyond the realm of science and psychic abilities. So basically, they have been hearing rumors from the other side that some sort of experiments were going on, or they were kind of like
US?
semi-successful. Yes.
The U.S. were?
They were here, and the Soviets were
Okay.
like doing experiments and had some success somewhere in the
They had
psychic realm.
success? The Soviets had success?
Yeah. So it says in the U.S., whispers of the Soviet experiments with extrasensory perception, or ESP,
Of course.
and telekinesis had reached intelligence circles. It was said that the Soviets were training psychic soldiers, attempting to harness the power of the mind for espionage and warfare. Fears began to grow that the U.S. was falling behind in yet another critical frontier. So obviously very terrifying. I would be instantly terrified to hear about psychic soldiers. I have no idea what that would mean.
Yeah, what's your skill set, you know?
It's just I just immediately think of 11 from Stranger Things.
I think of Magneto.
Magneto's another really good one.
Yeah.
So Project Stargate was actually the answer to those fears. It was an initiative shrouded in secrecy, born of curiosity and necessity. The program sought to explore and exploit psychic phenomena, especially the ability known as remote viewing. So perception or perceiving distant or unforeseen targets through extrasensory means. So that's a mouthful.
So
But
trying to
basically just
be
having vision.
a satellite.
Yes.
Okay.
Basically
Human
just like
satellite.
looking into your mind
Yeah.
and then finding things that are lost, basically.
I wouldn't mind that.
That'd be a great superpower.
Yeah.
I would love that. So a mixture of scientists, military personnel, and gifted individuals were brought together underneath the auspicious, or underneath the Project Stargate. Among them was Joseph McDonegal, a standout figure with a natural talent for remote viewing. So apparently he had some history of doing this before.
Can we set the stage? Are you a skeptic after
Ooh.
this, or are you a believer? Because I'm obviously, me not knowing much about this, I'm immediately going, so he has a good imagination. What are we talking about?
Right. Yeah. No, so I kind of lean with you kind of a bit. I'm pretty
Even
skeptical.
after knowing all of this, you're
there's definitely things in the world that you can't explain, and that's what brings us here today. Like that's what pulled me into the story to begin with. I think there might be a slight possibility that some of this stuff actually does work. I don't think we fully know what the human mind is capable of.
Stand behind it, Jacob. Are you a skeptic, or do you believe in it? I want
You put me.
Stand.
Oh my God. Okay, so I'm gonna say I believe that the possibility exists. That's
Okay.
right.
Okay, we'll take it.
However small or big, not hedging my bets. Just saying that I'll be on the opposite side of you for this case, Jeff.
Okay.
So Joseph was no stranger to the military. A decorated war veteran with an analytical mind, he had a demeanor and balanced skepticism with openness. His initiation into the world of psychic espionage was a journey into self-discovery, filled with
As it
doubt,
always.
wonder, and transformation.
Some
Training
self-help
was
stuff.
Yeah, self-help stuff for sure. Training was rigorous and unorthodox. It was a blend of meditation, visualization, and psychological conditioning. Sounds intense. Joseph and his fellow remote viewers were guided by pioneers in the field such as Russell Targ and Harold Pothoff, who sought to bridge the gap between science and the supernatural. So the challenges were immense, to say the least. Skepticism was rampant, both within the program and outside of it. Many viewed the endeavor as foolish and a waste of time and resources. I mean, I'm sure they were pouring so much money into this project just to kind of keep up.
Yeah.
Others feared ethical implications, questioning the boundaries that were being crossed. But
What
amidst the
ethical?
controversy, well, I mean, if you have a remote
Boundary.
viewing, what if someone could just instantly see where you're at all times, Jeff?
Okay, true.
Do you think about this?
They already do. We have phones. But yes.
We don't
just
need.
found a different way to do it, but yes.
Yeah, we don't need people in dark rooms just
Yeah.
looking into their mind to find that.
Yeah, they're like, wait a minute, I can create a robot that can do this for me, a machine. that can
Everybody
see in
already
the
has one in
sky.
their hands.
Exactly.
No need.
Uh,
No need.
True. Okay, makes sense.
Yeah. So amidst the controversy, there were moments of revelation, successes that defied explanation, insights that transcended mere guesswork, and the remote viewers were tapping into something profound, something that really challenged the very understanding of reality. As years passed and the program evolved, it moved from experimental curiosity to operational asset, playing a part in the intelligence gathering missions. The Cold War was a game of shadows, and Project Stargate provided a new way to peer into the darkness. So that's really kind of a wrap up of what the program was. I can't believe this program actually existed at one point. Actually, I can.
Sounds like it was successful and was used in the field.
Yes. The more I dove into the subject, the more I found that there's more than one instance of this being like no one can explain it. Like just successes. Yes.
Yeah.
There were also, as we'll get to as well, there were also many failures that came with it as well, which just kind of continued that like, is it real? Is it not real balance? Like even within the program, apparently.
Yeah.
So
I'm just imagining sending someone off to do some espionage or some critical mission based on someone sitting in a room envisioning whether it is like they're trying to find a military base or whatever it may be, and they have someone from this project use their ability. Yeah. And like for the first time, like I can only imagine the first time that this ever was implemented in a real life like operation. Can you imagine being like, okay, we're gonna take this view of this guy who says this is where this is, X is, and actually sending someone to look for it, or even harm someone. Like I wonder what it was used for.
Yeah, so that's actually what this whole podcast that I built today is for. Is I'm going to be talking about the most successful mission that happened underneath Project Stargate. So we're going to talk about a very specific story. In fact, it was one about a submarine. So it was a tale that would come to define Project Stargate. The world of science and the supernatural was colliding, a world where conventional wisdom was challenged and there were boundaries of the mind being pushed, where a quest for knowledge was thrilling as it was terrifying. So the year was 1979, and the loss of the Soviet submarine K-129 was not just a military concern, it was a political conundrum, a scientific mystery, and a human tragedy. Launched in 1960 and lost on March 8th of 1968, this submarine was not just any vessel. It was a ballistic missile submarine carrying 3 nuclear-armed ballistic missiles. So very important submarine there. The CIA, desperate to understand what happened and to recover what they could, faced an almost insurmountable challenge. The Pacific Ocean's vast expanse was a daunting searching ground, and the traditional intelligence methods had proved ineffective. Enter Project Stargate, the U.S. government's top-secret program exploring the psychic realm, a world as mysterious as the ocean depths. The program had its successes and failures, but now it faced its most significant test. So now we're going to kind of get into Joseph actually performing this, which is kind of crazy to read. So Joseph McGonigal, at the center of the story. McMonigal, yes, you're correct. Yeah. At the center of the story. Thank you for correcting me. I appreciate it. So Joseph McGonigal, a man who had just become one of the most successful remote viewers in Project Stargate's history. Born into a military family, he joined the Army and served in various capacities before being recruited into the psychic spy program. And yes, I'm going to continue to butcher his last name. I'm so sorry.
McGonigal was not just a soldier, Jacob.
Yes, that's right.
A man driven by a desire to explore the unknown.
Yes, he was. So his gift for remote viewing was not a mere curiosity, but a profound connection to something greater. Training in the program had been really intense. It was not just about merely like harnessing psychic ability, but understanding it, refining it, and then directing it with precision. He had proven his skills, but now he had faced a challenge unlike any other. The stakes were immense. This was not a game, not an exercise, or an academic curiosity. The Soviet submarine with its nuclear cargo represented a real threat and an opportunity. If the submarine's location could not be found, it would provide crucial intelligence on Soviet capabilities, technologies, and intentions. The U.S. government was not the only player in this game. The Soviet Union, well aware of the loss, was watching and waiting, no doubt conducting its own search. Time was of the essence. Moreover, the success or failure of this mission could determine the fate of Project Stargate itself. Skepticism within the intelligence community was growing, and there were those who viewed the program as a waste of time and resources. So there was a lot riding on his shoulders.
Yeah.
The shoulders of his mind, really. If we're talking real.
The imaginary shoulders.
The imaginary shoulders within your mind.
The spoon is not real.
The spoon is not real. I like that. So the task was clear, but the path was anything but. He worked closely with his handlers, began with the process of honing in on the submarine's location. This was not a matter of mere guesswork. It was a meticulous process that required deep concentration, methodical investigation, and profound understanding of both psychic phenomena and oceanography. So each session was a journey into the unknown. He would enter a meditative state, guided by his handlers, seeking to connect with the submarine's energy. Well, I don't know how you do that, but it sounds fascinating. So it would tap into that energy, its history, and its location. He would then describe images, sensations, feelings, and building a picture piece by piece. So he was actually writing it down on a piece of paper in front of a bunch of scientists and other people in the military watching him.
It's cold, it's wet, it's dark. There's fish.
That's where I'd start. Your skepticism is showing, Jeffrey.
Submarine Lost.
Yeah, it's dark.
I'll take Lost Submarine for 200, Bob.
I'm hearing whale sounds.
That's an interesting way to describe what he was doing. I mean, a meditative state, you're trying to, get in tune with some higher force, a higher energy, or be able to pick up on an engine or a lost submarine, which is so fantastical, in theory.
The feeling that like a man could sit in a room just randomly anywhere across the world and be able to locate something in the middle of the ocean.
It's a bit, manifestation. It's a bit of that,
You think so?
It's a bit,
or just being vague enough.
Thinking. Well, it depends if you're the skeptic or the believer. If you're the believer, you're saying it's manifestation in a real way. You're able to manifest the idea of where the submarine is in real, in physical plane.
Yeah. What if this is real, Jeff? What if people actually have this ability? That's the crazy part.
Well,
I'm
a skeptic in the military use of someone going, oh, here is where the nuclear warhead is in the middle of the ocean, and then being completely correct without it being some sort of guess. I'm a skeptic there for that to be like, oh, that was me. I knew where that was just by me imagining it. But in a day-to-day life sense, I subscribe to the idea of being able to manifest or lock into the idea of who you need to be to receive the thing you want.
Right. No, I love the idea that it's possible. That's what I want to be true. I don't know if I necessarily believe it 100%, but as you'll see, as we can kind of continue with this story, there were successes. This actually was not just hey, general area, ocean, wet, we were just joking, but pinpointing it down exactly what location it's at.
What if he had, imagine, if he just was a good oceanographer, he was good oceanographer and he was able to, he did his own research at night. See, this is my skepticism, right? Going, okay.
His own research at night.
My picture is he's doing his own study of where it could have gone, and then he ends up being right based on actual information that he's gathered, right? And then he's pretending it's in his mind.
Well, let me present the situation. So this lost submarine is even the Soviets don't know where it's at. It's just lost at sea. They don't know what happened to the people. They don't know what location it ultimately ended up in. You can't really research that.
But you could probably, my assumption is, and this is a guess, my assumption would be you would know their last pinged location before it went missing, right? And then maybe he, I don't know, I'm an oceanographer, but you start then going from there. It's it's like a case. You go, that's my skepticism.
I don't like your doubts. Jeffrey.
Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong.
I'm about to. I'm about to right now. I hope you're ready. So his dedication never wavered. He knew he was a part of something bigger and something that transcended politics and science. So finally, after weeks of intense preparation, the mission was launched. His visions had coalesced into a coherent image, a location and a resting place for this lost submarine. So he actually had a specific location in the ocean where this landed. But uncertainty remained. Could psychic visions translate into physical reality? Could a lost submarine be found in the vast ocean based on just the intuition or insights of a remote viewer? So you're not the only person with skepticism, Jeffrey. The
So I should
CIA
join
was
the
even
CIA.
skeptical.
Right.
Yes.
That's what this is saying.
That's what this whole podcast is for, Jeffrey. So you could just
Join the
know.
CIA. If you want to
You
reach
should
out to me,
join.
CIA, let me know.
Yeah.
I'd love to be a part of something.
Yes.
someday.
So even the CIA, though skeptical, were committed. Dive teams were assembled and ships were dispatched, and the world unknowingly waited and watched. The stage was set and the players were in their places, and the mission to recover the lost Soviet submarine K-129 was underway. The next chapter of this incredible story was about to unfold, and the world of psychic espionage was about to face its ultimate test.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. That's right. So, in a dimly lit room, the top secret military facility, a sense of anticipation hung thick in the air. The key members of Project Stargate had gathered, and among them was Joseph, the seasoned remote viewer. The room was filled with state-of-the-art technology and with ancient symbols and techniques of meditation, a fusion of a scientific and mythical kind of situation happening within this room as well. The mission was critical and the stakes were high. A Soviet submarine, the K-129, had gone missing, and the submarine was not just any ordinary vessel. It was armed with nuclear warheads. So the U.S. intelligence community was frantic, and the conventional means had come up short. Now they had officially turned to Joseph and the remote viewers for this unorthodox but potentially invaluable asset. The setup was simple yet profound: a desk, a chair, and a pad of paper, and an open mind to the unknown. So he took a seat, his face reflecting determination mixed with a hint of doubt, and this was uncharted territory even for him, a mission with global implications. He closed his eyes, his breathing became rhythmic, his eyes reached out beyond the physical confines, and he was seeking something elusive, something hidden with the vastness of the ocean. An image, a sensation, a whisper of the unthinkable. So time seemed to lose meaning as he delved deeper into this meditative state. Around him, the science and intelligence officers watched, some with bated breath, and others with veiled skepticism. That'd be you, Jeff. Images began to form, fragmentary and fluid. A vision of water, immense dark, and waves churning. Yeah, I don't know how you could guess that. And beneath them, a lurking shadow. So as his hand moved, sketching the images that danced in his mind's eye, a submarine he clearly saw now near the Hawaiian Islands, damaged and lifeless. The details were astonishing, in the orientation, the damage, and the desolation. So he was able to even mark where like the actual failures had happened on the submarine. Again, no one knew what had happened to the submarine. It just completely disappeared in thin air. So both sides were looking for it. He described what he saw, his voice steady but filled with emotion. The room listened, entranced by the unfolding drama and the realization that they were witnessing something extraordinary. The session continued and the connection grew stronger. The vision became clearer. The submarine's mission in its last few moments and the tragedy that had befallen it, and it was all there, laid bare by the power of his mind. This is crazy, but it's true. But there was something more, something hidden and something that tugged at the edges of his consciousness, a secret and a mystery that reached out beyond the submarine, beyond the Cold War. A revelation was at hand, a glimpse into the world not even more profound than the remote viewing, but a world that held the key to understanding not just the lost submarine, but something deeper. The mission was succeeding, the location was pinpointed, and the description detailed. The intelligence officers were ready to act, ready to send divers to the location, and ready to close this chapter. But he was not done. He was on the brink of something else that called to him, something that promised to change everything. And that's where we go to add, Jeffrey.
My skepticism is now belief. I'm a believer.
Get ready, man. You're about to see that he was right all along.
Wow. Okay.
All right.
Prove it.
All right, and we're back from the ad, Jeffrey. Are you ready to hear the true events of a real psychic?
Seems like it. I mean, from the first half, he pinpointed the location, supposedly, allegedly, using a room that was empty and people watching him. That was
That's
it.
right.
Sketchpad and
A sketchpad, man. Sketchpad in his
coffee.
mind.
a little bit of DMT. I mean, a little bit of.
It just sounds like you're a little jealous. It sounds like you just wish you could do this.
No, I am. I am actually. No, I think it's really, really interesting, and I'm just playing the skeptic. But I think in reality, it would probably be a sight to hold, only if it came true, right? Like, it's me sitting in the room. This dude is tripping, and he's writing down that he sees this.
He's meditating, Jeffrey, not tripping. He's meditating.
You know what I'm saying, though. He's in this
Yes,
meditative state, and he's writing down where this submarine is, how it happened. It's lifeless. And in the moment, it's shock and awe, sure. But if it's true, if they end up finding where he said it would be and the exact manner he said it would be, that's where I would go, okay. Yeah. My brain would immediately go to three things, which we've talked about. One would be, is he a double spy?
Right. We were just talking in the ad break about like conspiracy theories, which are totally not based on anything, but besides the skepticism of like, could he have been a double spy, knew the location? Maybe the Soviets did know and they wanted the U.S. to funnel money into this program that eventually they knew wouldn't be real.
Exactly. Like, do you know how genius that would be? Like that chess move would be incredible. Going, hey, we know where this is at. You're our mate. We'll pay you, or whatever the conversation was, to then just essentially get the U.S. intelligence community to believe this program that they're spending all of this money in and resources on is worth it, and to keep it going as long as possible, because you're trying to drain the enemy dry of resources from being able to put it towards something useful, like submarines.
I don't know.
Submarines,
the war. No, I think what's interesting too is like this is all around the space race too, and all those moments where like that's where all those conspiracies come from about did we land on the moon, right? Like did we use that to as an excuse to drain like their resources, right?
The pockets.
And so this was I believe this was like a year or two before that.
Yeah.
So just very interesting timing too for all of it.
They were just ahead of the curve, and they got us.
I don't know, man.
On this one, and so then the subtle thing that led to the fake moon landing. No, I'm joking. I don't believe the moon landing.
Yeah, I was about to say like,
if you were to follow that theory from one, and this was one, say we did this, we found out about it, and go, okay, you know what? We can one up you. We're gonna put our best director on this. We're gonna pull all of our resources and make us look like we went to the moon, so you can keep trying, or
like what if
stroke of
the
genius.
success of this actual program kind of like led to that, and then we went, oh man, we've been duped. Now it's time to really get them, and just do the opposite to them.
Or it's a double, right? Or it's a double where you're the U.S. and you go, this is not real, but we're gonna put out a story very subtly that this was real, so that way other people who are our enemies can try to replicate it. Because again, you see an enemy who has a weapon that's stronger than yours, you're going to go, how do I get that? And you're going to chase after that to be on the equal playing field. If the U.S. put out a story that said, we have psychic warriors, and you're
oh my God, yeah, I'd be terrified.
Like,
I'd be absolutely terrified.
Even if the Soviets started this, right, and the U.S. came along and said, wait, which was what the whole start of this was, which was we found out that they were doing it, so then we implemented a program, right? So let's say we did this and we find out, wow, we got screwed. This is completely fake. How do we act like we didn't do this for nothing? Let's let them know that we actually did get a success.
So just like 4D chess happening. just really making those moves. I mean,
CIA, I know how to play this game. Reach out to me.
This is not a recruitment video. This is not your platform to recruit. I think
it's funny.
It's so interesting. I know there's so many possibilities, and like, but we also have to consider, if we're considering just making up, like, again, thinking through theories like that, we also have to consider that maybe we're just the previous evolution, Jeffrey. Maybe there's psychic people among us, and we just have never ever encountered them.
I want to know after this. We can look into it if you don't have the information. But if Joseph McMoneagle has kids? Is he alive still? And
Like if it was passed down
did
as
he
a
publish
genetic?
a book? Did he like?
Yes.
Did he come out with new like? I don't know. Was he sworn to secrecy and being filthy rich to then I don't know. You never know. So
Yeah.
I want to know more about him, which we can get into maybe after in our little recurring segment. Maybe we take a minute or two to kind of get into that. But
Yeah.
let's
I like
find
that.
out what happened.
All right.
Tell me if he was real, if it ended up being true, and I want to know what happened. What's the resolution? What was tugging at his mind? What was the see? This is where it left off.
Yeah.
Like again, for those who've watched Stranger Things, this is obviously Stranger Things pulled from this would be my assumption.
Yes.
So
for sure.
the overarching idea of like envisioning and needing a quiet room or whatever
a blindfold. Yes.
a blindfold and to be completely zeroed out and then envisioning what you're looking for. So I'm just the cliffhanger obviously being he found the immediate bad guy or the immediate mission was one, and then there's a great looming presence of darkness.
Oh God. God.
That's
This
what
is
you
turned-
said. That's what
Yeah,
you said.
no, I
You
know,
said
I know.
There's something tugging at his subconscious.
That's
What
right.
is it? What is it? Tell
That's
me. I
right.
need to know.
I think he was realizing that the world had changed, Jeffrey, because you're about to witness that he did find the submarine, Jeff. Spoiler alert. So let's get into that actually and break that down a little bit. So
Let's pick up where we left off.
yeah, let's pick up where we left off. So as the room emptied and the mission's immediate phase concluded, but the echoes of Joseph's revelation still resonated in the secret chamber where the unknown had been touched. The tangible excitement was replaced by reflective silence and punctuated by the distant hum of machinery. Outside, the real world churned on, oblivious to the monumental discovery that had just taken place within those walls. The decision makers were mobilizing, planning, and strategizing. The submarine's location had been found, but the task was far from over. So the actual sub lost in the Pacific was a haunting image that lingered. The tragedy of the crew and the potential danger of its cargo and the mystery of the mission altogether. All these elements coalesced into a single urgent imperative to reach it, to understand it, and to make sense of its silent testimony. So the teams were assembled, divers trained in the art of underwater exploration, engineers and scientists, as well as even naval officers. This was not just a recovery mission. It was a journey into the unknown, guided by a psychic vision of a man who had seen beyond the veil. So pretty wild stuff. So the U.S. Navy was now officially involved. The highest levels of military command informed, and the stakes raised even higher. The mission was classified, the details were guarded, and the secrecy was maintained. Days turned into weeks, and the preparations were made. Each piece of the puzzle meticulously put together, and each step measured all together. So this was an uncharted territory, and the margin for error was very slim. Obviously, when you're looking in the ocean, like you miss by an inch, you're missing by miles compared to this stuff. So that's why this is so amazing of a feat. So the location near the Hawaiian Islands was scanned, and then every possible variable considered along the way. The ocean was not forgiving environment, and although the actual submarine laid really deep below the ocean, its secrets were hidden beneath those layers of water, pressure, and time. This really brings up the actual like submarine stuff that just happened here recently, and just understanding how difficult it is. Like this is also the 60s. Like trying to reach a depth like that without even the technology that we have today is pretty wild. So the vessel chosen for the mission was equipped with the latest technology, a testament to human ingenuity and the bridge between the world of flesh and blood and the world of metal and machine. Finally, that day it arrived, and the vessel had set sail, a mixed crew of seasoned professionals and eager newcomers, all united by the common purpose, all driven by a quest that had begun in the mind of a remote viewer. The journey was fraught with challenges. They had weather problems, equipment failures, even human limitations. The ocean was a living entity, and its moods were unpredictable, and its depths unyielding. So days turned into nights, nights into days as they approached the target location. The excitement was tempered by anxiety and anticipation tinged with uncertainty. When they reached the spot, the coordinates were etched into history by a psychic vision, a place in the vast ocean where a lost submarine lay. So the first dive was tentative exploration. So they were just probing a little bit into the general area. And as the divers descended, guided by that technology, they were able to look for the submarine. So in the darkness of the ocean that engulfed them, the world alien and mesmerizing, in a realm where light and sound were distorted and where time seemed to stand still, they had found it. The submarine was there, exactly as described, its metallic body a somber testament to a tragedy, its silent form a mystery yet to be unraveled. The divers explored and documented the whole crash, and the actual sub was a relic of a time gone by, a symbol of a world caught between war and peace, and a vessel that had become a tomb. So as the mission kind of continued, they realized that everybody on board was lost to failure, but it was exactly where he had written, like down on his little piece of paper, where it would be at, smack dab in the middle of the ocean. Now, how do you explain that?
Well, do we know how they died? Like what happened? Do we know if like they crashed or something or what?
I believe it was like a hull rupture as well. So everybody had died in it. Yes.
Wow.
But finding like that is a needle in a haystack.
Yeah.
To be able to even pinpoint even a general location of where it could be. And so the fact that they actually dived, they had to dive twice, but when they dove the second time, they actually found it in the exact location that was marked.
Wow.
So as the mission continued, each dive revealing more, each discovery leading to more questions. The damage was assessed and the layout was mapped and a story was pieced together. But the ocean was not done. A storm brewed and a force of nature that threatened to disrupt and reclaim what had been found. The vessel faced the fury of waves, the wrath of the wind, and the chaos of a world untamed. But they kept fighting on until the mission was done. And the mission was completed, but the true story, the story that began in the mind of Joseph, the story that reached beyond the physical, beyond the tangible, was not over. But the story of the submarine was a chapter in a larger tale, a tale of human potential, of mystery and exploration, and a world that defied explanation. So they were able to even find that. So that's one of their success stories. And in fact, I think that's their most famous success story from Project Stargate.
You always need one in your war propaganda.
Well, I know what, Jeffrey, just for that, I've actually wrote down to a couple other that we can kind of skip to as well.
Of their successes?
Yes. I wanted to look up other successes as well because I was like, is this a one-time fluke? Could this have just been like a trick that happened here? But there was actually a couple other instances that I was able to research. So one of them was at a Cuban missile base in 1981. So a remote viewer was tasked and his mind was honed to perceive the unseen, basically the location of a base and the number and types of missiles. So they were able to be that accurate and actually find that right there too in 1981. There was one about the hostages in Lebanon. So there was a terrorist group that kidnapped a group of hostages in Lebanon, and they were able to basically use a remote viewer to be able to see where the hostages were located within pinpoint accuracy. So that's also another really cool instance of this actually working.
I'm sure all of this is debated, right? I'm sure each and every success is debated on whether this was actually chance of guesswork. I'm assuming, as a skeptic, my assumption is that as many successes as they had, there were probably just as many failures of them being completely wrong.
There probably were, yes. So I think there was a mix of there was obviously quite a few failures that came along with it, but I think I was more intrigued of when it actually worked. But how much guesswork can you actually do and be that accurate? So someone's sitting in front of you and they're like, all right, tell me the exact location of where this is at. And how many times are you going to be right by guessing?
Yeah, you would have to be really well informed.
Right.
Prior.
You'd have to be really plugged into everything that's going on to make a really good educated guess. And even then, it's it's a crapshoot.
Yeah.
So it almost lends to the fact of there being some level of understanding. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know, man. I don't like to throw anything out anymore. We might discover people can actually do this later on, or maybe we just find out that it's never been the case. But it's very, very interesting to see these things
Yeah, I would
actually
like
working.
to believe it, but would I like to believe that it was used in war? And but it was. There's no other way it's going to get funded, obviously,
Right.
outside
Yeah.
of it being some sort of tactical use for some government entity. But that's really,
Right.
it's an interesting story. It's an interesting testament of like real money being put behind a project, and whether their Joseph was their scapegoat to say.
Right.
To avoid embarrassment, like I am imagining there being a lot of social dynamics that are not as straightforward as we believed in him and he found it and that's it, we're done. So like if you're someone in the higher echelon of like approving programs and cutting programs, and if this is a program that you stake your, I don't know, your
reputation on, yeah,
you're not going to want it to fail without some sort of success. And I don't know. I mean, I think of all the possibilities of answers, and it lends me to that.
Right. And ultimately, that ends up closing because of that, right? Like it's like, hey, there's been successes with it. Hey, there's also been failures to it. How much can we afford to continue to pour millions into this program before we just kind of call it?
What are you paying for, I wonder? Like, I wonder what they're paying for. Like, it seems like a really low overhead operation. You have a man and you train him
in a room.
In a room, and with the piece of notepad and paper, and you give him a quiet space and you leave him.
Right.
That seems like a really low overhead, but maybe there's other things.
But I'm sure there's like lots of little technical things. Like, first of all, they have to be kept secret and away from everybody. So there's probably plans for that. Plans on like, if they are doing continued training.
Like you put them in an extended stay motel.
Right. Yeah. You just go, just stay here, keep drawing on your notepad, find cool things for us, and we'll come back later. Right. That's why you need to be part of the CIA, Jeff.
I do think it's pretty insane that I say that word too much, but I think it's a really interesting concept that a government entity of humans said, yep, this is worth putting money into and exploring, which I'm behind. I'm behind that idea that, there needs to be more exploration outside of just being a tactical use, obviously.
Right.
I think it would be like the same way with like psychedelics where, at one point, not promoted, but they were, researched and done in a lab and actually explored in ways that were treated with, some sort of reverence and like intrigue rather than just,
right.
I don't know, thinking we know everything about everything in the world and going, okay, this is the way it is. And,
that's kind of like where I usually stand on most things. I'm pretty open. Like, I would say that I lean more as the skeptic on these things, right? Of just like that kind of ability in general. But I'm also open to the possibility that like I have no clue what I'm doing. And I know most people don't either, as much as like we like to think that we're so informed and caught up on everything that is possible. Every day we learn brand new things that challenge everything that we've learned previously before it. And so I try to keep that little like sliver of like, could it be? Maybe. I mean, maybe I'm crazy for not considering the possibility because that might stomp that out. And so, I did
look up if Josh McMoneagle was alive.
Yeah.
And he is alive.
Oh, he is?
I believe as of 2021. I don't know.
That's crazy.
Can give me the current.
Something nuts too that I find really fascinating that I would love to cover in some future episodes, Jeff, is really like, and this might be not too far off, but like talking like the Nazis and stuff, they really explored like insane things that like other militaries, like including us, were not really researching. Like they were really big into like air cannons and like using different weapons that just like seem like they're out of a science fiction movie. Right. And it really terrified, like when that stuff got back to us, I remember reading that like in certain history books, that was really terrifying for us to hear that they were experimenting with such like outlandish things, because if they were to nail one of them and one of them was to work, it could have been really, really effective. So that's also something I'd really love to deep dive into the future. Just in general.
First memories of watching the show Aliens,
Oh yeah.
As with the dude with the big hair.
Oh, the Bell Project?
Channel. Yeah, the Bell Project.
Yes.
Exactly.
We need to do one on that.
That's one of my first memories going, these guys were horrific and wanted horrific. And then there's people within the camp that just like had, again, like alien, like like they just, again, the ideas that they would go to, there was no limitations on what
Right.
they would try to find to use at their disposal.
Exactly. And that's what makes it so fascinating now, like looking back, is like all the failed programs that they tried, because they tried some really crazy things.
Yeah.
And so like that would be a podcast in itself that I would just love to explore.
Yeah.
And yeah, let us know, you guys, if you guys listening are interested in that too, because I would love to cover that in a future episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, so to kind of just get back and kind of wrap this thing up as well. So just to kind of talk about the closing, by 1995, the curtains were drawn on Project Stargate. So it lasted till 1995, Jeff. It seems like a long
I was
time.
born, and then they said he's the one. He's the Neo.
Right. They
He's
said,
the program.
yeah, he knows too much. He's going to shut this down on its own.
He's gonna be the guy that keeps all of our plans intact.
Right. Exactly. So they decided just to, call it quits,
Scrap it.
pack
Yeah.
up, start their yard sale now. But however, the spirit of the project, it like stayed with everybody. So the divers who now explore the sunken remnants of that actual submarine connect with a piece of history that expands beyond geopolitics. They dive into a chapter of human endeavor that dared to believe in the unseen, the intuitive, and extraordinary. Through Project Stargate's doors were shuttered, its echoes persist. From books to documentaries that whisper tales of psychic phenomena, the legacy of this unique venture persists, as it stands as a testament to human innovation and the courage to explore beyond the boundaries, even when faced with disbelief and ridicule. So in the end, Project Stargate may be remembered not for the missions it completed or the secrets that it unearthed, but for the questions it posed about the limits of human potential. What challenges us still, urging us to look beyond the horizon and wonder, what if, Jeffrey? What if this is real? So that's...
I'm not going into work tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. I'm immediately... You can't tell me, Jeffrey, like the amount of times as a kid you've tried to move something with your mind. I guarantee you, everybody listening to this podcast, we've all done that at one point in our lives as like kids.
I did, and then I started putting... like, for instance, fun fact that we can completely cut out if we don't want this in there.
You're fine. Go for
I
it.
used to do that. I used to want to be able to turn off my light in my room with just
Right.
nothing. And so you know what I did? I was like,
What'd you do?
I can't do it with my mind, so I'm going to do it with yarn. So I taped a yarn on the wall.
I remember
all
this.
the way across to my bed so I could just pull the yarn. You see, that's what happens when you find the limitations of your what if.
That's right. You innovate when you can't do it with your mind. So no, I remember this. Jeffrey he was actually in a bunk bed.
Yeah.
And so you had string like literally going up 3 corners of your room.
Yeah.
That's my vision.
Turn off the light from my bed.
You had them.
Couldn't be bothered.
Yeah,
I wanted a clapper basically, but I couldn't afford the clapper because I was 11 and I was
right.
I was 10 or 9. I honestly don't remember how old I was.
Dude, it was great.
Yeah.
You even had like little tacks. You had like tacks in the wall where it would just be that like fulcrum point for it, so it could all go down
and to turn it off. That was you're just flipping a switch, just pull it on, turn it on.
Super easy. And now Alexa does it for you, no problem, man.
Exactly.
So,
Alexa is my yarn.
That's right. Alexa's our yarn. But yeah, so that is Project Stargate and kind of the conclusion of that story. But I thought it was really interesting just because I'm fascinated with things that are really on the edge of understanding and just like, again, even just human potential. I think that's what kind of drew me to this story, and the fact that this program actually existed within the government. Like they actually put this together, they funded it, they paid guys like Joseph to literally go into a meditative state and write down on a piece of paper and find things in like a random room somewhere, which is
had the coolest date questions, which were, "What do you do for a living?" I'm a remote viewer.
I'm a remote viewer.
Like
what does that mean?
Yeah, exactly. And now he gets to go into the whole spiel, but it's pretty cool job description.
Heck yeah.
Now we're all remote viewers, Jacob, on social media.
That's right. We're all remote viewers here now.
This is why I brought you here. I wanted to talk about the limitations of social media and how it's limiting.
Oh, gosh. Yes, let's do it right now.
Before we do that, let's jump into our game. Let's do our segment.
Right into our game here. So I had a ton of fun kind of coming up with some new ideas. So last week we did time travel trivia. So it was really just about like having a rounds where we had 3 stories. One of them was true and the other 2 were made up. But I wanted to go a little bit of a different direction. And so Leo helped me kind of craft this new thing. And it's very related to The Price is Right. So this is actually going to be called The Price of History. And so I'll kind of explain a little bit how it works. And I've even got some fun music when we start guessing our stuff, Jeffrey, too. So this will be really cool. So I don't know the answers to this. This time. So I'm going to be just as in the dark with you and would love to guess with you as we go along. But basically, there's going to be an item that we have from history that Leo is providing us. It will present a fascinating historical item describing its origin, significance, and its unique features. Then it's up to us to actually take turns guessing the current market value for this item. So the goal is to get as close as possible to the actual price without going over. So that's kind of our game, and we do have a little bit of a scoring system. So I know you're going to love this, Jeff, so we can actually keep score and be super competitive against this. So 1 point is if your guess is the closest to the actual price without going over. 2 points is if you actually guess the exact price, which I don't know how any of us would do that. And then a bonus round. So we do have a bonus round of this game where the points are doubled for that final round, making the stakes even higher. So the contestant with the most points at the end of the game will be crowned the champion of The Price's history. So big stakes here, and in return, wow. and earn eternal bragging rights as the master historical appraiser. So that's going to be me, Jeff. So I hope you're prepared to lose at this game.
Win.
All right. So are you ready, Jeffrey? Are you ready to start the bid?
Let's go.
All right, so let's go into round 1. So in round 1, our item is a signed first edition To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. The description is published in 1960. This iconic novel explores themes of racism and moral growth. This edition is signed by the author. So Jeffrey, do you have a guess? And let me just put on some ambient music for you, so you can feel that tension in the air. You ready? All right.
Okay. It's really intense now.
Yeah, right?
I wasn't feeling any now you put on the music and I don't know what I'm going to guess. No, actually, I'm lying to you, Jacob. That was a bit. I've always been ready for this moment. I've always wanted to be on Price is Right. And
okay.
I'm going to confidently say $24,599.
24,000. Okay, so I'm going to guess, man, 24,000 seems, if you've gone over, you've messed up, dude. So I feel like I want to go a little under, and maybe that's crazy.
You're gonna play the $1 under.
No, I'm not gonna do the $1. I wouldn't do that to you. I'm gonna do.
Time's up.
Man. Oh gosh, time's up. Okay. I'm gonna do. That's actually a really good cue. We should do that for the time. Yeah, 12,000. Do 12,000. Okay. Answer, so I'm gonna go ahead and ask Leo right now, so that way he can give me the first price of this here. All right. So a signed edition of To Kill a Mockingbird, 25,000. So that's point for you, Jeff.
Jacob, can I just say something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
You know how far off I was? I said 24,599 or 499. Excuse me. I was only $501.
It's still 1 point, Jeffrey. It's still 1 point. You didn't get the exact.
That's within.
That is pretty crazy, actually.
Can I call the judges for 1.5?
No, you can't call the judges. No, you can't call the judges. Okay. No, they're out of town right now. You can't.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's just hop into the next one. All right. You ready for the music? Let's do it one more time. So let's hop in now. All right. So round 2 is a genuine piece of the Titanic's hull. So a preserved fragment of the Titanic's hull recovered from the ocean floor comes with authentication documents. Yeah. So what's your guess?
That's really dark. First,
right.
I just want to say it's a tragedy.
this is really bad timing.
I'm trying to laugh, but
yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna guess. I guess. Can I get a description of how big the piece is? That's gonna matter.
There's no description of how big the piece, Jeff. It's just a piece of the Titanic.
Poor description.
You got 20 seconds, buddy.
I'm gonna guess $7,900.
I'm going to guess 21,000. I'm going to go way higher.
All right,
Okay.
well, I'm hoping for a small piece. That's what my guess is.
Yeah, like how small of a piece we talking?
I mean, like how much can you recover, from the Titanic that's crashed legally? So I'm going to guess a small piece of metal.
All right. So round 2, a piece of Titanic's hull, 18,000. So I went over. So you still win, Jeffrey. Of course you did. That's okay. It's all right. It's all right. We still have a bonus round. Oh, okay. No, there's 3 rounds and a bonus round. So we still have some fun to go. All right. So round 3, we're going to do a letter written.
Jacob,
yes.
You gotta cue the music. If you're going to play game show host, you got to cue the music. Okay.
I got you. We'll just keep rolling.
I can say this one. A letter written by Winston Churchill during World War II. The description is a personal letter penned by Churchill discussing war strategies, dated 1942 with the original envelope. Jacob, what is it?
So it has the original envelope. That means so much to me. Now I know the price. I'm gonna go low since I went so high last time. I'm gonna say like $8 grand. Yeah, I'll just do $8 grand even.
Oh wow, you're underestimating the people's love.
You think so?
Churchill. Yeah, I'm gonna guess. I can't believe I'm going this far away from you, but I think I'm gonna go over 70 grand. I think I'm gonna go.
Oh, you're kidding!
72.
No way. Okay, well we have to figure this out. Okay.
I think a personal penned letter by Winston Churchill discussing wartime strategies, like with an original envelope, that's got to go for crazy numbers at an auction.
All right, Jeffrey. So the price has been revealed, and it's actually $9,500. So I win by a landslide for that point. So I'm coming back, baby. I'm working my way.
Wow. Okay.
People don't care about Winston Churchill.
I would think for some reason that would be way higher than that. But
yeah, the item that actually shocked me the most was the Titanic one, because I feel like that'd be so much. Yeah. I feel like that'd be so much money to have in like a collection or to buy that.
Yeah.
All right, so we have
round 4.
Round 4.
I'll do this one again because you did the first. Go to the next 2. So in round 4, we got an item of authentic Egyptian heritage.
A scarab amulet. Yes.
Yes. Well, I was going to go into that. A scarab amulet from 1500 BCE. The description is a beautifully crafted amulet, obviously, representing the beetle. You're a fan of beetles, Jacob?
Yes, big fan of beetles.
Well,
and
the symbol means rebirth in ancient Egypt. So
wow,
that adds any
beautiful
value to your guess.
Thank you. It actually adds a lot of value to my guess. I mean, it already sounds super old and crazy, so I feel like I have a high number. I'm gonna go like 32 grand.
That's a high number. Then we're talking again. Maybe I think people care about this more than I think.
Maybe
more than.
Or you're directly on the money.
122,000.
You think 122,000? Okay.
For an amulet, like I'm imagining something really beautiful.
All right, Leo. Come on, buddy. Give me a good one. 12,000. Wow.
Crazy.
That is so low. So we both went way over. So
nothing, right?
Yeah, we're probably just calling that one. But we do have a bonus round for me to finally catch up. So you're still ahead by a point.
2-3.
And this one is actually kind of in your wheelhouse, Jeff. So this last one.
Do this though, or bonus rounds? Is it double or nothing? What is it? Is this?
It is.
Take all?
Let's do winner take all. Why not? It'll be more fun.
Why would I give up my position? I said that. I shouldn't have said
winner take all, Jeffrey. Come on.
Okay.
Put it all on the line.
You just don't want me to win 2 weeks in a row.
That's right. So Come on, you got this. All right. So the last bonus round is going to be a signed guitar by Jimi Hendrix. So a Fender Stratocaster signed by the legendary guitarist Jimi Hendrix, with photo evidence. So there's actually evidence of him actually playing it.
Right. All right. I guess first last time, I believe. Or no, I guess second. So I guess I'll go first.
Okay. Good luck, Jeff.
The last 2 have really shaken my confidence in people and what I think people at auction, like rich people, would be interested in. Maybe this is more pop culture, and I'm obviously would be more into this just off of the dome, like in general conversation. Right. It'd be cool as hell to have in my collection. I'm going to say for $1 million, I'm going to guess 134,000.
134,000. Wow. That's the highest we've gotten so far. I think I'm right there with you. I think because this is more like relevant in like pop culture, that this is going to be higher. So I'm going to shoot lower than you though, because I'm afraid of going way too high. I'm going to say like 84 grand. That's my final answer, Bob.
Okay.
All right, let's see.
What is the answer?
All right, Leo, give us the answer for the bonus round.
This is intense.
It is intense. The wait. Whoa. Oh my God. $750,000.
Yep. That's more like it.
An Egyptian amulet doesn't go for more than that?
Yeah, I'm a bit shocked it's not closer.
I know.
But yeah, that makes sense to me. I'm like,
wow.
Yeah, of course.
Well,
Jimi Hendrix signed Fender Strat.
All right, well, fine. I concede. All right, you win. So that's fine. 2 weeks in a row. Eventually, I'm gonna have to win one of these games that I make up. Maybe. I'm thinking next week too. We could kind of go back to the trivia one. I really enjoyed that a lot too. So
yeah,
it'll be really fun, kind of coming up with new creative games that we can have for this segment. And if you guys have any really good ideas, please let us know. Love to hear your comments, and we can definitely come up with something creative that you guys might have in mind. But
before we wrap this up, I do want to say thank you for listening. If you made it this far, number 2, if you have guesses, just because I'm interested. Obviously, we're going to take your word on it if you're guessing before you hear the answer that we give you.
Right.
But on the Spotify app, at least, you can put in an answer. Typically, the question is, what did you think of this episode? I might just put it as, what do you think the prices are for 1, 2, 3, and 4?
Yeah.
And so that way, if you made it this far, it's a little bit of a, we know you're cool club because you made it this far, and maybe we can kind of suss out who.
We're going to have like a global scoring card for everybody that listens.
In the next episode, who was closest.
Oh, we should. That'd be really fun. I like that.
Well,
so we'll definitely have to do that.
That's all I got. But thanks for bringing in the story this week. Another solid episode. We will be back every week from now on, and in the foreseeable future.
All right.
I was about to say
Heck
forever.
Yeah. Forever and ever this time.
Oh man! Ignore the background noise of just fire trucks.
That's okay. My boy's in Jersey right now, so
I'm in New York. I'm not in Jersey.
Yeah, you're.
Get it right. That would
you're
be
in New York.
Really offensive to people on either side.
Yeah, you're right.
If you said us from New Jersey, you know what I mean? Come on.
Yeah. I think if you listened really closely to our last episode, this might also prompt you guys if you haven't listened to our last one. I think there was an ice cream truck in the background of that recording, and it cracked me up. You must be a hot route for all ice cream, man.
And it's hot out here, and I'm on the main road, and that thing comes in and just sits for hours on end. So
you getting your ice cream with those little popsicles that look totally mangled? You mean the SpongeBob that looks like he's deflated? Oh, dude, yeah. I've had a Bugs Bunny one that just looked like he was melting on the inside. You would go for Bugs Bunny. I think that says a lot about you, actually. It does, man. It does. I heard that and I was like, nostalgia. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. We won't continue on about ice cream, but really appreciate everybody who's listened so far, and we will see you guys on the next episode.